Okay, the time is 5:09. I will call the meeting to order. This is the Environmental Services Committee meeting for Monday, December 1st, 2025. And thank you to the committee for being patient for the last 9 minutes. I will remind everyone that the meeting will be live streamed and recorded for public viewing on the town's YouTube channel and to declare any pecuniary interest as they arise. We have nothing under delegations, so I'll move to section 4. I have a motion moved by Councillor Wolvett, seconded by Mayor Atkinson, that the minutes be adopted by the Plympton-Wyoming Environmental Services Committee. Those confidential minutes of the closed session of the committee remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. That is the Environmental Services Committee meeting for November 3rd. Questions, concerns with those minutes? So nothing, we'll call for a vote. All in favor? That's carried. We have nothing under item 5, so I'll go to section 6. I have a motion moved by Mayor Atkinson, seconded by Councillor Wolvett, that the accounts as listed be received by the Plympton-Wyoming Environmental Services Committee. That is the water list as of October, the sewer list as of October, and the environmental list as of October. Are there any questions on the accounts listed?
Nothing.
Over there, Councillor Wolvett?
Just the one on the sewer, on the backflow valve installation. The $825. How many of these have we got left to go? Any idea whatsoever?
And through the chair, there's not really a set number on how many we have left. It's an open grant program that's available to all residents within Plympton-Wyoming, whether it be to disconnect their sump pumps from their sanitary sewers or to install backwater valves on their sewage lines going out to the main. So it's not a number that we're trying to pick off. It's just an open grant that we put money in every year. So that residents could take advantage of it. And of course, it helps us out too, right? Disconnecting some pumps from the sanitary sewer lowers our operating costs and prevents flooding. And then the backflow preventers also prevent basement flooding as well.
So does the grant cover the full $2,825?
Up to $3,000.
Up to 3,000. Okay, so this is pretty well standard price for, I can put a backflow in. Do they have to actually dig up the yard, dig up in the yard?
So they put them inside the house. You can get exterior ones as well, but they're harder to maintain. So we prefer the interior ones. So that normally involves breaking out concrete and installing them within the sanitary line.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have, sir.
There's no other questions. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Move on to staff reports. 7.1, I have a motion moved by Mayor Atkinson, seconded by Councillor Wolvett, that the report submitted by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated November 26th, 2025, regarding the capital project status update be received as information. Another very fulsome report from Mr. De Silva. Is there any questions on?
No, I would just make a comment that when we got our latest water and sewer bill, the pamphlet that you put in there explaining some of the capital projects and that's a good thing to have. So it shows people where some of this spending is going to take place in the future. So yeah, very nice.
I can't top that. I have nothing further.
Yeah, through the chair, if I could just draw some attention to the last item on that report, just to provide some clarity. So Laws is as part of their master plan, they're undertaking a project next year that would have them install a new distribution main on London Line between Mandamin and Plowing Match Road, with the intention on transferring all the water services, so all of our customers over to the new distribution main. What that's going to allow them to do is fill the East Lambton booster station at a higher rate, because they won't have to deal with customers anymore. And then once the project is completed, it will be turned over to the town to own and maintain.
Thanks, Paul. Any questions on that? I'll call the vote. All in favor? Also carried. Thank you.
We skip 7.2 for now.
I'm just gonna say, so we'll move 7.2 down just because we are waiting for Market representative. We'll go to 7.3. A motion moved by Mayor Atkinson, seconded by Committee Member Rapel. That the report submitted by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated November 24th, 2025, regarding the Plympton Meadows development, water main upgrade and fire flow improvements be received for information. Again, as always, we received the report in advance. Were there any questions for, or do you want to add anything first, Paul?
Sure, if I can just, through the chair, provide a quick summary. I also want to note that the developer is in the room and their engineer has joined us online, just in case there's any questions for them. But probably around a year or so ago, the developer approached us regarding purchasing this piece of property and wanted to know what would be involved in the planning and engineering process to bring the project to fruition. We identified very, very early on that there would be some limitations when it comes to water main servicing in the area, specifically when it comes to multi-residential, because it does require a higher flow rate. So the developer did purchase the property and we did undertake a study which proved exactly what we had already thought. And then from that study, we went on to try to come up with a few mitigation ways to increase fire flow to that area. The first one that we considered was to start replacing some of our north-south water mains that run basically from the Laws line all the way to the south end of Wyoming. That would be cost prohibitive and time prohibitive. So you'd be many years and many millions of dollars doing so. And then the engineer had proposed an alternative solution, which would involve running a new water main from Ketterway, crossing the CN tracks through an easement on private property, through the subject lands, which is Plympton Meadows, and then out Isabella to tie back into the two water mains that are out on Broadway. This would effectively double our fire flow production in this area, making the development feasible, as well as increasing all of the fire flow in the area. Good for future development, good for existing customers, good for firefighting. So open to any questions.
So we have a chance here at the committee level to obviously ask some questions. I'm sure it'll be discussed at the council level as well, but is there any questions for now?
Yeah. Well, certainly is a significant amount of money, but look at what's being proposed, multi-residential. I mean, that's something that we certainly would like to see, no doubt about that. Affordability, people not affording these single houses anymore. So plus we have water problems at that end of town anyways. So I don't know about the final figures on cost sharing here. And I think there's an awful lot of questions to be asked. There's another subdivision on the south side of Isabella that's going to go in the future also. So all that has to be taken into account. So we look at these numbers and the town share versus the developer share, significant difference there. But if it'll benefit the town in a big way, which we already know fire protection wise, we've got a problem already. And of course, the fire chief's reports in here also. So, I guess it's like everything else that we're doing here with subdivision stuff. We need to certainly look at this in a positive manner. And if it's going to benefit us and upgrade those lines, which, by the way, reading this, there's old lines down there that need to be replaced anyways, eventually. So if we can do it all in one, and you're going to do Isabella Street eventually also. So even though right now this is just kind of information for us and the council, it's probably a good investment for the future.
Yeah, through the chair. And I think my intention today was more to bring this possibility to the committee and know that this is coming down the pipeline. I did provide a couple of alternatives that we could look at, and we won't have any clarity on the whole development charge alternative until council deliberates that in the spring when the new background study. So this is mostly, the developer wanted us to bring this to, obviously he can't move forward with his development unless this all gets sorted out, and he was looking for a little bit of clarity on which way it could possibly go. So we're just bringing this for information at the moment, and the intent is that once we have all the facts, once we know which way we're going to go with development charges, that we can make a decision at that time.
Right.
Thank you. Good report, Mr. De Silva. Couple of questions. Number one, the connection at Ketter's Way, that's feasible to tie into. There shouldn't be an issue with that, would there?
No.
And my second question, we would be boring underground through to over to Isabella. Do we have to get releases? So you said there's some private lands to go through. Do we have to get releases on that?
So through the chair, first question regarding the boring, we will have to put a steel casing in underneath the CN tracks. That's a risk to the project. They do permit that, but it does take time and effort. And then for the water main running down private property, my understanding is the engineer and the developer have had some productive conversations with that private property owner. And I know I don't know if you can share how the private property owner feels about this, but my understanding was that they're certainly open to it.
Okay, and I just lost my question, but I think you covered it. That was, yeah, good. No, I think it's a good idea. I think we can work together and get it done.
My question would have been regarding that water main installation underneath the CN rail. I take it would be tunneled. That was incorporated into the costs
Yes.
installation. And then would some of the cost sharing be with the future development to the north of as well? Like, is there a potential recoup for some of those costs into that area?
Through the chair, great question. Yes, that is being done. So there is a 1-page kind of tentative cost sharing proposal included. So that particular piece of property is called Future Development Lands. And they look at cost share for them as well. Sorry. Of a roughly $41,000 that we would ask them to buy into the system if they ever develop.
Sounds good. I mean, it certainly unlocks the potential of that land, so.
Come back to you.
Yes, it did. Yeah. CN, do we obviously have to get permission from them too? Have we done any groundwork on that?
Through the chair, not yet. This is very preliminary. I have been involved with multiple crossings of this nature. They take probably around 8 months to a year. So we will probably be in the later half of 2027 before it's finally got installed.
Okay.
It's permitted. They allow it. They just make you jump through a bunch of hoops to do it.
We do know that, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That was my question.
I just have one question, because I do know in that area, I think we red capped a few of those hydrants because our flow is so low in there. Just out of curiosity, let's just pretend this development didn't exist. Is there a way to improve that fire flow by looping it? I'm just curious what other alternatives there were to improve that area, the pressure in that area. Or is this a cost-effective way to do it at the same time?
I would say this is the most cost-effective way to do it. There's other things that we're looking at to improve flow in the Wyoming distribution system as a whole. And that includes some improvements at the Wyoming standpipe. We're hoping to kind of increase the pressure zone in the entire village of Wyoming. But this eventually we're gonna have to replace the north-south mains. I'm sorry, I don't have a sketch of that up right now, but we have two alleyways that run north-south in Wyoming, and we have existing water mains there. They're old pipe, they need to be replaced eventually, but it's tight. It's constructability wise, it's difficult. It's gonna take time and money. So when we came up with this solution, this improves the fire flow in the entire south portion of Wyoming at a much more cost-effective way than replacing those pipes in a short amount of time.
Just thinking that as you're speaking, the provincial government and the federal government are pushing housing. It's been said many times about the infrastructure. You can't build housing if you don't have the infrastructure. So my question is it grant money? There may be grant money or development money available for this type of improvement in order to proceed with this kind of a development? Because they're pushing it big time. And they've recognized that infrastructure wise, they have to get it in before they can do the houses. So are you going to look into that, or I know the developer, I'm not sure what the developer is gonna do, but does the town look at that?
Through the chair, we're constantly looking for grants, and I was gonna leave this to the new business section, but I do have to break some bad news right now. The health and safety water stream that we applied for to replace about 1 kilometer of pipe within Wyoming, we didn't get the funding for that. Now, our portion I plan to leave in the budget, because we still want to tackle some work next year, but unfortunately, the $1 million that we applied for, we did not get. So our eyes are always open and we'll always be looking for new.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Because, I mean, this is an application that you can basically say you've got single family and multi-residential units dependent on infra that doesn't exist right now.
Mhm.
Where I guess some of our applications in the past have kind of been more reactive to a certain extent, whereas this one we can say is not, right now, it's not happening. This infrastructure, and for the province, I mean, what do we say, $630,000 we need? And they can have a nice photo with a ribbon cutting. I think it's a pretty good idea for them.
In
opinion.
residential, kind of little icing on the cake, so to speak, so.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. There's some grants that come across our desk where we're kind of racking our heads around like what could we do that with this type of money? This is a clear and obvious project for a grant like that.
I would have been a clear candidate for that
It
grant.
would have been,
Yeah, probably would have been a better candidate in hindsight, but we weren't far enough down the road.
And I didn't look into it, but I'm assuming the provincial budget for 26 will have the same type of home building
Think so.
requirements for their money, so we'll see.
Still pushing it as far as I know.
We can trust staff with that, for sure. Is there any other questions for that? Do you want anything?
Just here, just, yeah, like I heard everybody say, it's a townhouses and smaller homes, that's what every community needs, so. But even my understanding, even single family homes, is the fire flow would be sketchy at best down there, so. We're definitely here to work with the town to try to get this project going. You know, we're under the understanding it's probably gonna be in 2027, just because of the whole process, and. We still have to work through a bunch of planning stuff, but until this is straightened out, the planners have made it clear we're not moving forward on zoning changes, because there has to be a zone change on that property because of the higher density, so. We're kind of locked into this process until. I think that's a true statement, right, Paul, from what Rita's been telling us, and
it is, yes.
yeah, so. We're excited about the project because I know we're doing one in Strathroy with the same type of housing stuff, and it seems to be going over fairly well. People just can't afford these $1 million homes at this time. I had a builder tell me today the sweet spot's $599. They're selling. Much above that, it's a tough sell right now. Just had a builder tell me that this afternoon, actually. People with the interest rates and stuff, that seems to be a number they can manage, I guess. But yeah, if there's any other questions anytime, just, yeah, Paul, we're in contact all the time about this project, so.
I guess in the meantime, that gives us 2026 to see if the province wants to help out.
Mhm.
Their water infrastructure grants, so. Alrighty, thanks, everybody. So we have that motion on the table for receive for information. All in favor? That's carried. Thanks you. We have nothing under by, oh, actually, we'll move back because Marcot's here now. We will move back to 7.2.
Thank
you. Thank you. I have a motion moved by Councillor Wolvette, seconded by Mayor Atkinson, that the report submitted by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated November 25th, 2025, regarding the Marcot contract extension, draft 2026 waste collection budget be received, and that the 5-year contract amendment submitted by Marcot Disposal Inc. in the amount of $702,282.20 plus HST be endorsed and forwarded to council for approval. That the draft 2026 waste collection budget be endorsed and forwarded to council for budget deliberations. And again, there was a staff report accompanying that. Want to add anything to the report?
Not at this time. I think Marcotte might want to speak.
Okay,
to-
sure.
To it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everybody.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your time. Sorry, we were a little late there. I didn't realize the tracks were out. I haven't been here in a while, so we just wanted to thank you for your time. We wanted to open up if you had any questions on the renewals. Basically, what we what we had come up with is over the course of the last 2 decades of servicing the town, which we have loved and appreciated every moment of your business. We have kind of tried to keep the pricing very limited by splitting it between the recycling and the garbage to kind of have minimal increases along the way. And unfortunately, with the recycling revenue going away and becoming part of the province, we had to fold all of the costs into the garbage collection cost. So that's why you see such a significant increase in that. There is a few things like we've increased the compost pickup out into the Plympton area off the lake there, Kamlaki, and then also adding that on for 12 weeks. And additionally adding another 4 weeks into Wyoming. So there's a spring, we can either do a spring collection or a 3-month fall collection. That is also included in this proposal as well.
Thank you. So with that, I'll take advantage of asking me. I'll open up any questions for Mark.
Do we know in terms of the compost pickup? Because I know in October this year, there wasn't a lot of leaf fall until we got into November. Having a 3-month pickup in the fall, I don't think. Do we know what type of usage we have from the compost pickup, like weights and of compost?
I can get you those numbers.
I think there could be potential cost savings by reducing the amount of length of the compost pickup. Well, personally, I've dropped off at the transfer station before. If I have waste outside of those times.
Yeah, through the chair, and Tracy can correct me if I'm wrong, but so the contract includes 12 total weeks. We can kind of split that up, 6 in the spring, 6 in the fall, 5 in the spring, 7 in the fall, or we could reduce it down. We have some options. There's some cost saving measures here too. Like go 3 weeks in the spring and then 6 weeks in the fall would save us a little bit of money. So we can, normally it involves, Tracy and I will email each other back and forth. Hey, when do you think it's a good time to start pickup? Oh, well, the leaves aren't really falling yet. So we're going to push it back kind of thing. So it's flexible in that way. So we can kind of change things around as we see fit.
That was my recommendation, is that we look at that to see potentially fit for cost savings.
Overlooked.
Yeah, certainly that was going to be one of the things that I mentioned. I don't think we need 12 weeks of compost pickup. So I think there can be some adjustments made there. 3 and 6 sound reasonable to me. It's great to have it, especially out in the Plympton area. That was a great addition. People appreciate it. And by the way, we appreciate Marcotte too. Did a good job for us. I've been here for coming up 16 years, so I've dealt with you.
I was gonna say.
Since the beginning. I guess, when I look at this, it's fairly clear to understand why the price increase. I mean, I get it. Things are more expensive. My goodness, everything you touch now is doubled or tripled in price. So, no different than your equipment and stuff like that. And I guess the other thing I would say that we, the residents here in Plympton, Wyoming, we're no longer paying for recycle pickup, which I forget what the price of it was, but you remember that when Norma, what we were paying there for 170?
170, but
170. So
both.
yeah, so we're not paying that half of it now. So really the increase to the taxpayer is not going to be significant because they're not paying that recycle. Now the government is taking care of that. So some of the proposals here that I guess are maybe on our side of the table here about how we're going to increase it, maybe so much a year. I guess that's up to us to decide there what we want to do to make it easier for our residents. Probably doesn't have much to do with you. So, you didn't have any choice. I mean, it was taken away from you, the recycle part of it anyways. So that kind of was, in my opinion, your gravy, kind of a little bit of gravy to help keep the prices down. So, we're not even sure what's going to happen there January the 1st neither. Really, we're just getting the information as we speak. So, maybe have to be some changes on that side. So other than what you're proposing here, we're just gonna have to decide how we're gonna pay it and whether we're gonna adjust some things down, take some money out of reserves or what we're gonna do. But like I say, that's on our side of the table. So what you're doing, it just it just makes sense of what everybody up and, trying to cover their costs. So we appreciate it. We had a 10-year contract, did we not?
We did.
Yeah, Lonnie and I.
Yeah, it's been a minute, Bob.
I thought, yeah. Oh,
Bye fast.
goodness, for sure. That's all. That's really all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, first of all, it's been a good relationship and we'd like to continue that if we can, for sure. So, I don't see anything really major here. I think the flexibility in the fall or whenever we need, I think as Mr. Reppel brought up, it's a good thing. So, just from my end, I don't see an issue with it. Let's take it back to council and see. From there.
Yeah, and the only thing that I had too was, I mean, we don't know how much revenue we're gonna get from this new structure year to year. Because to me, I mean, it seems like we've been forced to give up this good agreement we had with Marcotte, good service, everything with recycling included for $170. Now that same money or more, and to no fault of Marcotte, I would say they're paying more, Bob, for less. Because now they don't get recycling as part of that because we're at the mercy of however much money we get from the CMO. Is that correct?
So through the chair, right now, today, yes, as of January 1st, no. So we won't be involved in recycling at all. CMO takes care of all of that with Emterra. We don't pay a dime. We don't receive a dime.
So what is supposed to save us as residents money is not saving us money because now we're paying the same, if not more, for jet garbage.
The only difference was before we were collecting on CMO's behalf and they were reimbursing us for that total cost, plus a little bit.
Yeah, I guess ultimately what I'm trying to say is it was perfectly fine. It was perfectly fine. We were paying less, getting great service, and now it's just getting thrown into a tailspin. So
Yeah, the province is sharing their revenue with you, right? So
yeah.
they were giving you a bigger grant than it was costing Marcotte to collect it. So that's
So-
going away. So now it's just,
And it's too bad that we couldn't have any say in terms of who doing it. That's for sure. So that's just not all I had, but I had the same thing as the committee. I don't think we have any issues tonight. So we'll kick it up to those other questions.
Yeah, are we happy with the proposal? So we're kind of dealing with two separate things right now. We have Marcotte's contract extension, which the committee seems to be happy to endorse and forward to council. And then we have the budget. So it's as it stands right now, to cover our costs, we need about $210 per household per year. We're currently charging $170. My proposal is to bump that up $10 for the next 3 years. So 180, 190, 200, and then 210 would be the fourth year, I guess. And take some money from reserves to help stabilize that increase. So we're not asking the residents for $40 for a year right now. So we do have about $500,000 in reserves. And it would cost us about $234,000 to stabilize kind of the increase over the next 3 years.
and that was this committee's good foresight, because when we first brought CMO in, we noted that we were overcharging, but this committee agreed to put that extra money away in that reserve for this very reason. If that when the changeover occurred, that we saw a price fluctuation that we weren't prepared for.
And is there a way, sorry to jump ahead of the committee, is there a way to get confirmation on that compost license? That's what that information. Back to what Paul had asked.
On reducing it or on flexibility?
Flexibility, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We're flexible. I think we did give an option for 9 weeks and we gave an option for 12 weeks.
Could I think-
5-year agreement.
Yeah, okay. Just 'cause I think, 'cause you had a question about how much we were currently doing or something, didn't you?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
if based on the usage that we have, we set a compost schedule. Added this year during October, didn't see much pickup in October. Why would October?
Just so council has that usage information, just so don't cut some if it's being used.
Because that question will come up, Mr. Chair, council.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I go.
I have no issue using reserve money to help offset the cost to our residents because this money that's in reserves is from recycle money anyway. And it's also from grants that we received over the past few years. Not only the overpayment of from the government here recently, but that reserve, that is, since it's a user paid system, user pay, that's their money.
Mhm.
So there's no reason why we can't give back some of that money to help out here over the next 3 years until we figure out where things are, where it's gonna level out. Like I say, it's a user pay system. They were putting that money into reserves. We were getting grants back because we were improving the recycle program. That's why we got the grants. Right, Norma, I fought for quite some time because the money was going into the general coffers for a while. And through council's decision, we were able to get it put back in reserve. So I don't think it hurts to use it. I don't think we should use it all up, but to kind of offset it a little bit might, $10 a year, that sounds like a pretty good plan to me.
A
Plus,
little bit more palatable, I think.
yeah. That's,
And something further, in 4 years' time, we don't know, like, assuming it's 210 a month, it might. Likelihood be higher than that as well, so there may be further increases. It's not as if we might not catch up. In terms of the difference between what we're charging and the actual in 4 years.
So through the chair, good point. The 210 is today. Today would be net neutral, I guess. There is provisions in the agreement that, the CPI gets calculated every year, stop counts go up, but that also gets offset by the revenue that we gain from the new stop counts. So by the time we hit year 4, it could be $213 or something.
It may deplete our revenue or the reserves more than what we're expecting, but again, the intent here is that we're gonna get back to.
Is that we catch up, yeah.
Any other questions? Call for vote, all in favor? Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Right.
Apologize again for being late. We should have, I should have known where
Me too.
it was.
You were late too, okay, good. Yeah.
you gotta listen to that side of your radio.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, I should have asked one of my drivers, hey, is there anything if I'm coming that way? Because the drivers know everything. Yeah, and I can tell you all that, just over the last 2 years of Tracy and I'm Mike Griffin, I'm the president of the company. We have found that in several of our contracts, we have been off on, especially our longer term ones. We just could not catch up with everything that happened like in 2021. And it's every single one of our contracts, whether it's in Canada or in Michigan, we've had the same thing. We just met with one of our ones over there last month in Michigan, and same thing when we got looking into it. We really weren't making any money, but we were just employing people. And what we found is due to our price increases past years, if we would have kind of stuck to like a 3% or a 5%, we would have been okay, but we didn't. And so it's not unique to Plympton-Wyoming, I guess is, and we did just go through with City of Sarnia. They put their trash collection out for tender, and we have been selected. We were the low bidder. It's not official because it's a negotiated RFP, but we were the lower one out of the 4 companies that submitted it. So we're doing everything we can keep cost as low as possible, but we've improved our systems internally. We're finding these things, and it's not just here, it's across the board. It's and we're seeing it from other haulers also. It's happening in other cities. I think it's going on no matter what you're doing, especially, people, equipment, all the costs associated with it.
Appreciate it.
Okay,
Thanks,
thanks, everyone.
Have a great evening.
Have a great evening.
Good to see you guys.
So we have nothing under bylaws. We'll go to section 9. I have a motion moved by committee member Paul Rapel, seconded by Mayor Atkinson, that the minutes from the laws meeting be received for September 25th, 2025. Any questions on that item? I'll call the vote. All in favor? That's carried. Do nothing under correspondence action required. Section 11.1. I have a motion moved by Mayor Atkinson, seconded by committee member Rapel, that the correspondence related to recommended review, approval of information items not otherwise addressed by resolution be noted as received by the Plympton-Wyoming Environmental Services Committee and filed accordingly. That is the 2026 council and committee meeting calendar. The letter to council and staff re cold and flu season, the Jacobs operating reports for August, September, and October, and I believe they are on online if there's any questions for those. Open that up to the committee. Were there any questions in particular on those Jacobs?
One with the Jacobs report, looking at the budget items, it seems as though the budget for chemicals is much higher than what was anticipated. I was just wondering why, like, it seems as though they're going through a lot of chemicals this year as opposed to what was budgeted. What was the reason for that extra cost?
Chris, were you able to hear that?
Yep. So through the chair, our biggest
All right,
increase.
Chris, if we might have a problem here, Chris, one second. I can see you're talking, but I can't hear you. So let's just change something here. Because you were green, so I can tell you're talking.
Test.
Button tag back to the cast here.
I don't think so. There's a volume. Oh, the computer volume works.
So I think it's on Chris's side.
It's very possible.
It looks like our audio is working, Chris, but we can't seem to hear you.
I tried to call him on my cell phone and put it on speaker.
You know, leave it for next month as well. October, right?
Good question, Mr. Raven.
Okay. You have any idea? I'm just kidding. I don't.
Probably be for alum.
We've never had good luck with the streaming, have we?
Okay, well, let's park it for a second. Is there, if there's other questions for Chris, then maybe we'll try to figure something out. Is there any questions on their side for? Be comfortable asking Chris? I guess it'll be the new year because
Yeah, that's fine. Until February.
No, we don't. Not till February.
February, that's a long time to wait.
Can you remember the?
Maybe we'll get,
You'll be able to sleep tonight.
maybe we'll get Chris to text Paul and we'll have the meeting with
Yeah, sure.
throw it in the minutes. All right. Thanks, Chris. I assume you're talking. All right, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. On a new business, is there any new business for environmental services from the committee? Councilor Beck, go ahead.
The only item I have, and I'll just be quick, I brought it up at council about used battery recycling. And so it's an environmental issue too, but we're to get rid of these batteries. So I've made some requests through the council, through the fire chief to take a look. And by the way, he was already looking at it himself, where we're putting these used batteries or where people can take them. So I had requested maybe at each fire hall, we could have a place where people could drop off their old batteries, flashlight batteries, stuff like that. We do have one in the hall here, one in the library, but the fire chief wants to get them out of these buildings. So he's looking at that. So environmentally speaking, since this is the environmental committee, I'll just leave that there and we'll see what the fire chief comes up with. That's all I have. Thank you.
I have nothing.
I know Paul had something to break our hearts with a grant. Was there another thing?
No, I spoiled that already, but I do have an answer from Chris. So because of our prolonged dry weather, they had to increase the amount of sodium bicarbonate that they were using. So that's like a pH adjustment.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks,
Any
Chris.
business other than that?
I do not have any new business.
Nothing else from our other friends? All right, so I have a motion moved by,
One more thing, Chris wants everyone to know, after our improvements at the O'Brien pumping station, he was gonna write a report on this, but he didn't have time. We're saving 20 to 30 hours of runtime per week at two kilowatts per hour, so there's some decent savings at that pumping station after our rehabilitation. That's a good news story.
good, yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Thanks, Chris. I have a motion moved by Committee Member Rapel, seconded by Mayor Atkinson, that the Plympton-Wyoming Environmental Services Committee regular meeting be adjourned until the next regular meeting to be held February 5th, 2026 at 5 p.m. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And thank you, everybody.